I know exactly what you're thinking right now. You're wondering why your phone isn't ringing like it used to. You're asking yourself if other businesses are struggling or is it just you? Here's what I promise by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what happened in 2025 that's changed and why some businesses are crushing it. Sorry about that. I might have to cut this short. But why other businesses are crushing it and why some are dying. And so, because here's the problem. Google has changed how customers find business and how SEO is working in 2025. And so tonight, I'm going to walk through how you can, and I may have to cut this short, but I will try. Let me turn this back off. There we go. So that is what we're going to talk about tonight of how to get business. And I'm really going for the pressure washing. I do believe that the Christmas lights industry will also may be affected by this of how you are getting seen on Google. And so that is what I want to hit on tonight is how can we see what has happened and what are ways in 2025 that we can get business? Because I know that Google has changed. I know that Google has changed a lot. And this is some things that I've actually heard. I've seen several people post. One of the guys that I trained, he's like, is business slow for everyone? And here's what I will say. It has slowed down for some, but for others, it is rocking and rolling. And the ones that are rocking and rolling, they don't have all their eggs in one basket. And that is what I want to talk about tonight, about not putting all your eggs in one basket. So with that, tonight, this weekend, this Memorial Day weekend, I know that it's a time to remember of our lost people that we've lost that have been keeping our country free. And so we want to remember them as this weekend goes on. And that is very important that we do that as we move forward. So my book of the week is, where's it at? Right here. Again, I'm still going through it myself. I'm reading it. I'm listening to it. It's called Endless Customers. I really, truly believe that if you are struggling to get customers, this book will help you out a bunch. I'm going to be talking some about it. And so that's what we are going to be hitting on tonight with us to be able to grow your business in 2025. We got Bama in the house. How are you doing? What's up, Jason? This has been a great weekend. The sun has been shining. Yesterday, I went out and did a boat patrol. And with that boat patrol, it was beautiful out on the river. There was lots of boats out last night. And so that is what we have with this. So with that, this is what I got. So what has been some major changes by Google? A lot of you may have been seeing some of your clicks not being, your website not clicking as much. And a lot of it has to do with Google. You know, I have been seeing this change come for about 2 years. This isn't the first year. When I started seeing some of the ads I used to run, and I used to get very good click-through rates and get a lot of business off of it, and it started struggling about 2 years ago is when it started to see the impact of it. And last year was no different. And this year, it's even getting less and less. Now, Google local service ads have been doing well. So that is good. But Google has been doing some major changes. And this is what I see. I see a lot of times people come in and they get into this business and they put all their eggs in one basket. And you might say, Jason, what do you mean by putting all your eggs in one basket? And what I mean by putting all your eggs in one basket is the fact that I see people come and they'll start out with their yard signs, and then they will do some SEO, and then they will do some nothing and just let the SEO go and the reviews, which don't get me wrong, reviews are still good, but that's all they do. And they wonder what's happening. Why aren't they getting no more website traffic? Why are they not getting their business seen as much? And this is where Google is doing the zero-click Google search. He talks about it in this book, and it's more and more. And what is a zero-click Google mean? Well, it means that Google is answering the questions by themselves. They're not even sending them no website links. There's no blue links to click on. And what that means is that it means this. It means that one of the things that this is a problem with is that when this happens, 60% of Google's traffic is staying on Google and it's never leaving Google. So 60% of the people that see that stuff won't scroll past that information there. And when that happens, that means they're not clicking on your website. And that's the problem when they're not clicking on your website, because then we can't do other things. We can't track them with our pixels. We can't track them with hopefully filling out a lead form. We can't get them to phone call us because they've already got their question answered by Google AI, which means we have 0 clicks. And so with 0 clicks means less web traffic, which means you're less likely for your phone to start ringing. Now, here's the thing about it. There is an advantage to this, because some of your big companies, some of your large companies have spent thousands of tens of thousands of dollars on SEO. It's not so much important as it used to be. Now, I'm not saying that it's not getting clicks through. I'm not saying that they're not able to get some of that information out to you through their stuff. I'm just saying that it's going to even it out a little bit. And some of the companies that I've seen complaining didn't just start last year. They started 2, 3, 5 years ago is when these companies started. And so this is where we come to where we have to start thinking, how do we start doing something different, right? Because yes, we know that Google reviews are still important. Yes, we know reviews are still important as a general, because we also know AI pulls from those reviews. They usually don't pull from your Google reviews. They usually pull from your Yelp reviews. And so this is something that as we look at, do I get Google reviews? Do I get Yelp reviews? Do I get both reviews? Do I get Thumbtack reviews? Do I get Facebook reviews? And the answer is yes, you get all of those reviews. Because what happens if we don't, and we only focus on Google, and don't get me wrong, I know I'm bad about just focusing on Google too, but I'm transitioning to not only focusing on Google, but how do we focus on everything else so that way we can make sure that we're getting the results that we need. And some of this is going back to the old school marketing, right? One of the things that separate you and your folks is networking. I know a lot of people don't like networking. They don't like the face-to-face. They don't have time because they're on the truck so much, so they can't do the things that they need to do to go do networking. Do networking? But to go and do networking. You know, word of mouth, referrals gains more importance in 2025 because this is the thing that's going to separate you and your competitors. If you think that, Jason, I spent all this money on SEO, well, that's awesome, but I'm just letting you know things are changing. I've seen it in my personal website has went down. I've been King of Pressure Wash and Christmas Lights were like this. And now I'm kind of sitting here like this and maybe even coming down a little bit. And here's the thing about that, right? It's still important that we need to work on that, but what's going to change in the next couple months? What's going to change in the next year? Are you going to change, or are you going to just keep putting your head in the sand and say, I'm not going to change. This has worked for me for 10 years and I don't need to change. Well, I'm going to tell you something. You're going to be stopped running out of business here shortly, because unless you have a really good referral networking, which that's a great thing to have, that is huge for you. But not only word of mouth is great, but being into the local communities, right? Are you in the local chamber of commerces? Are you into those things? Because here's the thing. This is what's going to separate you from your competitors. You know, some of you may watch Gary Vee. And Gary Vee is big on the whole side of... Gary Vee is big on selling online. And I know some of you do this, but some of you don't. And so this is something that you can do. There's people on TikTok right now, and they go live, and they just sit there and talk and sell the whole time. And they get business. And so how do we look at things different, right? The reason why I'm big on this book is because in the end of this book, he really talks about how important video is. And some of you are going to say, Jason, I don't like video. I didn't like video either, if you wanted to know the honest truth. If you don't believe me, go back on YouTube and look up Cincinnati Pressure Wash, and you will see very few of my face on the probably 10, 15 YouTubes. But over time, I overcame my fear, and I started doing it. And this is something that's going to separate you from your competitors. You know, a lot of people don't know what to say on video. Well, there's lots of things you can say on video. There's a lot of things that you can do to grow your business in 2025. And it's just a matter of, how do we do this? How do we build general relationships in the local market? How do we go to the Chamber of Commerce? How do we go to the BNI meetings? How do we build those relationships? How do we build these things so that way we can make sure that we're getting the information to the customers we need to get to? And this is going to be hard, and you can do hard things. Doing video it's not hard. It's uncomfortable. And here's the thing. As we start thinking mindset, how do we quit telling ourselves things are hard, and we start telling ourselves we're just not good at it at this time? Because the words we use, it's hard, is going to be way worse for you than saying, I'm just not good at it at this time. I'm going to get better. Because when we do the mind shift of a positive mindset versus a negative, it's a whole nother world. I was talking to a good friend today on on a phone call today, and we were talking about mindset. We were talking about the words you use and how important it is for you to start talking positive instead of negative. You know, if you got on your voicemail that, hey, I'm Jason, sorry, I can't get to this phone call, that doesn't sound very professional. In fact, that sounds terrible, right? There's other words that you can use that is very important that would not be that I can't. And here's the challenge that I would give for you to do this week. this month, the year 2025. Some of you, this will be a very, very good challenge for you. And other people, it's going to be a really easy challenge for you. But let's start changing the way you speak and the way you talk. And let's start making it positive instead of negative. And sometimes you have to move away from negative people because that can hurt you more than anything else. Is being around negative people is not a good thing for anybody. So this is why it is important that we make sure that we get around positive people. Positive people are the best thing that you can do. Positive people will help you so much better than being around the negatives. The words you use is the most important thing that you're telling yourself. If you tell yourself that you can't do something, you can't make this much money in this area, you can't close these jobs, then you're right. This is why you need to take can't out of your vocabulary. It's important. You know, yes, things might be challenging, but you're an entrepreneur. You like to be challenged. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And this is why it's so important that you stop relying on set it and forget it, right? We get into this mindset of this marketing has worked this way for blah, blah, blah years. Okay, great. But things are changing. And what are you going to do to start changing with it? Now, I'm not going to say it's 100% changed, but I'm saying that more and more of Google is 0 clicks. And if Google is going to more and more 0 clicks, that means that you will not be doing well in business. So this is why it's so important that we embrace the relationship building, right? It's important that we show up consistently in our community, in the networking side of things, in whatever it might be. And yes, some of these things might cost you, but this is what's going to separate you and your competitors. Because if it cost you to go to a networking event, $100, $200, then your competitors are going to be like, well, that's too expensive. I can't do that. Because they still like to use the word can't. And guess what happens when we use words like that? They're right. So let them be right then. And here's the thing. Quit worrying about your competitors. You know, I see this all the time. The more you sit there and think about your competitors and go look at their Google reviews and go look at their website and go worry about all of their stuff, that means you're not worrying about your stuff because your brain is focused on their stuff. And that is not good, right? That is bad. So this is why it's important to focus on building not just a business, but a personal brand. You know, in 2025, personal branding is becoming more and more important. It's not just the business brand. And yes, that can be good, right? Branding for that, but the personal brand. Because here's the thing. As AI is coming around, a lot of people know that it's AI. And people still like relationships with people and that personal bonding with people. And that's why it's important that networking and personal branding is becoming more and more important. You know, I have seen this before, And if you grow a personal brand, you will be able to do a whole lot at the end because everybody's going to know who you are. And you know everybody. You know, hey, I need this. I got this guy. Because you will become the guy that everybody will know that you know everything. And that's awesome. And that's what sets you apart. So, what are some action steps for 2025? One, join local business groups. They don't even have to be paid. Maybe you start a local business group. Maybe you start a Facebook group that's local. And networking organizations, right? The Apartment Association, BOMA, that's one, BOMA, BNI, the Chamber of Commerce. These are all groups and organizations that you can become a part of. And a lot of these groups will have get-togethers and meetings and different ways that you can start meeting other folks and building that. Set up Facebook ads. You know, one of the things that I have, Facebook ads, I'm not big on for crisp pressure washing. I'm still not big on it, but it's also a way to get your brand out there. And so for Christmas sites, I am still like Facebook's ads because I know lots of people that have grown very good things. So that's definitely something that you should do, that I believe if you're going to do Christmas sites, it is something that you need to do. Here's a big one. This is a huge one. Set up a referral card. Set up a referral something. It can be something as, you know, you get a $25 gift card, you get a $50 gift card, you get a free gift, you get something. Set up a way that way other people start referring you. It's just not you referring yourself. It's other people referring you also. And then last, build relationships with businesses that complement your business. Maybe you go find electricians. Maybe you go find a painter. Maybe you go find a roofer. Go find these people. And here's the thing. Don't just ask for the ask. What you want to do is be like, hey, Mr. Roofer, here's a roofing job for you. I do pressure washing and roof cleaning. Let me know. Because if you start referring them work, they're going to refer you work because they're going to know that this is important. One of the things in mentorship this week, in my mentorship, if you didn't know, I had mentorship, not just membership, but mentorship, kingofpressurewash.com/mentorship, is the question came up that a guy has worked out with another pressure washing businesses that if he gets a referral for this type of job, he will give 10%. And he gave a check for $750 because the job was $7,500. And so it kind of brought up something in the group, and it was kind of split. And this was it. Well, he would probably do that for $250. Would he? Or will he give you more of these $750 and he don't have to do nothing, is just refer that job? And so this is why it's important that we build these relationships. And you might think, man, $750 is a lot of money. Well, if you're spending 10% on marketing, I'd rather give it to this guy than give it to Google or Facebook. I would much rather give it to somebody else and to a business that I will give them business and they will give me business. I would much rather do that than give it to Facebook or Google. So that's my thoughts on it. I'll do that all day long. If I could get jobs and I'll give you 10%, go find me more jobs. It's a no-brainer. That's why it's important that we build these relationships so that way we can work together and not against each other. So the important part of this is go out there. And one of the things that I see is what worked last year may not be working this year. You might need to go back to yard signs. You might have got away from yard signs because you thought they were tacky, but they were bringing in your business, and that's how you got started. And so then you quit doing yard signs. And then you wonder why you don't have no business, because Google is starting to poo-poo on you. And when Google poo-poos on you, you ain't got no business. Then sometimes you got to go back to the way that you do this. And this is why I always tell people of what's working to get you here, one isn't going to get you there. Like if you got to $100,000 doing this, doing yard signs, let's just say, let's take an easy way. Let's say you did 200 yard signs a month and it got you to $100,000. If you did 200 yard signs a month, then it probably isn't going to get you to $200,000. And the same way with Google, right? If I spend $10,000 in Google, it'll get me to here, but it's not going to be able to get me to here. There is a cutoff of what it is. And this is why you need lots of different marketing arms. I had a call this week, a coaching call this week. And he's been in business a long time. He has 150 reviews. And they haven't focused on reviews. They haven't focused on checklist, right? They don't even have a checklist. And he's trying to get off the truck. And it's important that if you want to do these things, you got to be, my pressure washing checklist is 26 steps. And 20 of those 26 steps have something to do with marketing. Taking your before pictures, taking your after pictures, asking for a review and when you open the door when you first meet them, ask them for the review when you're done at the door, ask them at the review at the end of the job. These are all things that we're doing to be able to try to get this, because a lot of people are focused on that job. I don't care about that job. We already made money. We're already making our money off this job. We got to work on the next job. The other thing in that is putting out a yard sign, putting out 5 arounds. If you're not busy, you do 10 arounds. If you're not busy, you do the whole subdivision around, right? These are all things that we have to do to be able to get our business where we want it to be at. So with that, I will answer some questions here. I don't know if I've gotten any more messages coming in here or not, but it didn't look good. So we will see what we got here. So, what's up, Sean? How are you doing? Is ready to have a great week. What's up, Mr. George Jost, Mr. Big Time? I started reading Endless Customers last week, and it's eye-opening to say the least. Mr. Artie, how are you doing, sir? What's up, F-Bomb? I haven't seen you around in a while. From Myrtle Beach. Hit the like button. You have to do it all. I don't have a problem doing Facebook Lives. How is doing a YouTube educational market different? Here's the thing about that. You're answering questions. So whatever questions you get, you are going to answer those questions so that way people get the knowledge that they need. From then they know, like, and trust, and then they will buy from you. So that's why it's important that we do it's really educational marketing, is letting people know what you do and answering all of their questions. That's the most important thing that you can do. I'm not scared of a video or going live. I did a live video a few days ago and called out another pressure washer, and have fun with it, right? Amen. Just got home from a long weekend of soccer. Two more games tomorrow. I just opened Facebook, and the first thing I see is a service business owner in an argument with someone. No time for negativity, right? I love yard signs. Marketing is everything, and everything is marketing. It's yard signs, it's flyers, it's signs on the truck, higher end uniforms, Google reviews, referrals, go see top realtors, networking groups, doing video, and all of the above. I would agree. The average customer with little to zero clue on how a house or concrete can be cleaned. Hi, I just watched one of your videos for the first time today, and then I saw you're live right now. Well, Matthew, I have lots of videos, so go check them out. There's a lot to learn, and I go in depth on a lot of stuff. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I will answer your questions for you, for sure. So one of the things here, I'm gonna give you something else here if I can find it. If you're in pressure washing and you want to know when I go live again, you can text the word King to 859-696-1101. If you have a question, you can text that phone number too, and I will answer your questions there also. If you're in Christmas lights and you want to know when I go live there, text the word light, LITE, to 855-619-5483. And again, if you have questions on Christmas lights, text them there, and I will get you an answer. Start advertising Christmas lights. We already have signed up 10 this week. Awesome. High five, Pat. That's amazing. And yes, people love Christmas. I've been busy washing around these cheap guys. Work smart, work less, work safely, and charge your value and make money, because that's what happens when you charge your value. So one of the things I do have coming up, I have a lot of things coming up. I've got something pretty cool coming up. Well, we'll hit this one first. Giveaway. I have, if anybody else has any questions, I'll hit on this. Nobody questions are up here yet. I am giving away on June 15th on Father's Day. I'm going to give away $500 worth of either yard signs or door hangers or whatever you want to buy. So go check out christmaslights.io/UZ, and that way you can get that done. And then the last thing I have here is we have some in-person training coming up. If you want to learn how to do Christmas lights for 2025 and you want to know how to get started and come off with a great season and possibly do $100,000 your first year, go check out christmaslights.io/IPT. And I am having a class coming up in June, and it is going to be an awesome class. And here's why. Because I'm doing it up at Jeremy Main and Jennifer's place, Pink Pro Wash. He was a garbage man 5 years ago. And last year, he hit over $1 million in his business. And so if you want to learn just not what I'm teaching, but what he's doing too and how it's working for him, go check out christmaslights.io/IPT. And then I will also have a class that they're going to hit $1 million this year. They should, is Lindy and Dan, and that's going to be in Charleston, North Carolina. So go check those two classes out. I guarantee you will learn a lot. I also bought me a new daily truck. Finally got started and put out 30 yard signs Friday night and putting together the next 70. Awesome. How do I find good help for Christmas lights and light washing? See you in July, Jason. So put out a good ad. And there is people out there that want to work. And one of the biggest things I see is have good systems. Everybody has systems, but if you don't have a system for your employee to follow, then you're setting them up to fail, which in reality, you failed. And so this is why it's important that we have systems in place. We have, hey, before you start, you need to watch these videos. If you're talking about Christmas lights, the best way to do the interviews there is just have an open interview, and you come to a house and you put a ladder up and you tie them off and you say, here, climb up that house and get on that roof. And you will find out real fast if they're going to work for you or not. Because one of two things are going to happen. One, they're going to not show up. Or two, they start climbing up that ladder like this. They're probably not ready for that job. So those are some things that you can do to try to find good help. How are you, Jason? And how was your weekend so far? My weekend was awesome. Friday, I sold my rental house that I've had since I was 21 years old. And we are putting in for a shop that I'm going to be buying, for which is going to be awesome to be able to have the state-of-the-art Christmas light and pressure washing training center in the greater Cincinnati area. That's only about 15 minutes from the airport. And so next week, you'll probably start seeing some videos of me cleaning out this shop and getting this shop ready. So it's going to be awesome. Not too late to offer veterans a special on Facebook. Vets are one of the few people we give discounts. They deserve one for what they have done for us. 100%. I've been averaging $6,000 to $8,000 a week and keeping it one job a day and weekends off, and you're probably home by 2 o'clock. But, you know, that's pretty awesome that you're able to do that with a one-man band. So, for sure. Did I sell it to Tristan? No, because he wanted me to take a land contract. So, with that, I do need to jump off here. There may be going to do a call tonight. I don't know. Well, I got to find out. But other than that, if you have any questions, awesome, ask me on Facebook. The 2 phone numbers I posted, you can ask there. Go to christmaslights.io/IPT and sign up for the next training. You'll get 3 whole days with me. Permanent Christmas lights one day. So Friday is Christmas lights. Saturday is marketing and sales and how to door knock and how to do everything. And Sunday is how to do permanent lights. And so if you don't want to do permanent lights, you don't have to show up for permanent lights. If you do, you can. If you don't want to do Christmas lights and you only want to do permanent lights, you can do it that way also. So with that, hopefully you all have a great week this week. Remember, tomorrow is Memorial Day for the ones that have ultimately took the sacrifice for our freedom. And we want to remember that. And with the ones that I know that if you have served in the military, we do appreciate everything that you've done. And with that, we'll see you tomorrow night on the marketing Zoom call tomorrow night. If you're not a member of King of Marketing or King of Pressure Wash or ChristmasLights.io, you can be on that marketing call, and we'll see you tomorrow.